about the George Bush Presidential Library.
The 41st President of the United States. This is his story. Born in Milton, Massachusetts on June 12, 1924, George Herbert Walker Bush was the second son of Prescott Bush and Dorothy Walker Bush.
There are certain objects, structures, images that transcend any specific president. They are symbols of the office itself and convey to you and to the world that they represent the President of the United States. You recognize these symbols when you see them: the White House, the presidential limousine, Air Force One, the presidential seal. You recognize them when you hear them. Other symbols might not be as recognizable, such as Marine One or the Secret Service, but they are also symbols of the highest office in the land. There is something awe-inspiring about seeing the President of the United States waving from the steps of Air Force One, or catching a glimpse of him as the presidential motorcade passes by. Those are images we remember, symbols indelibly etched in our minds. There is no other structure that evokes quite the same sense of power and stability than the White House. It is the home of our presidents, and though it belongs to us all, we treat it with a special reverence. And there are no more courageous public servants than the members of the Secret Service. Men and women who go to astounding lengths and often risk their lives to protect the president each and every day. Surrounding you are symbols of the presidency. There is also fascinating information concerning them. For instance, you may have seen the presidential seal many times, but if you look closely, you'll discover that every component has a special significance. The 13 red and white stripes signify the original 13 states. The stars that form a circle around the eagle represent all 50 United States. The motto, E pluribus unum, meaning from many, one, reinforces our unity as a nation. The President is the chief executive of this union. The olive branch, a symbol for peace, represents the President's role as this country's chief diplomat. The arrows, symbols of war, represent the President's role as the commander-in-chief of our armed forces. Finally, the eagle, symbol of our great country, represents the President as our head of state. It is true that these symbols transcend any one president. But it is equally true that President George H.W. Bush wore these time-honored symbols well, always maintaining the deepest respect for the office and accepting, with humility, the awesome responsibility of being President of the United States.
behind the Resolute desk.
It's very open. We have very small beaches in Corpus Christi, just right off Ocean Drive. And thinking about the amount that I've collected, multiplied that all over the world, you can see it's seriously complex.
This is the Laurel Lodge office. Piece of the Berlin Wall.
Our objectives in the Persian Gulf are clear. Our goals defined and familiar. Iraq must withdraw from Kuwait completely, immediately, and without condition. These goals are not ours alone. They've been endorsed by the United Nations Security Council 5 times in as many weeks. Most countries share our concern for principle, and many have a stake in the stability of the Persian Gulf. This is not, as Saddam Hussein would have it, the United States against Iraq. It is Iraq against the world.
President Bush's campaign. In retrospect, President Bush has said that compared to Clinton, he was probably about a quart short on the
This is a sculpture by Verl Goodnight. Sorry, the sun's in horrible position for this sculpture. This is the presidential pond. Now on my way to the gravesite. Apparently they let you fish out of that pond. grounds of the library here are really pretty.
Morning.
Morning. This is the Barbara Bush Rose Garden. Good old Texas wind is really blowing here outside the entrance to the George H.W. Bush Presidential Library.